All right, from the missing to the mysterious, it is that time of the night where we say hello to little Timmy Seanor and the UFO Report.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
Big Bad Tim, it's always good to have you back here, my man. Thank you for popping on by. How was your Halloween so far?
Happy Halloween, everyone, and happy Halloween, Dave. So far, pretty spooky. Pretty spooky, I think. Let's see. My kids are dressing up as like a diamond-covered bunny, like sparkly bunny, a piece of pepperoni pizza, which is going to be fun. And let's see, I'm going as Alex from The Clockwork Orange, if you're familiar with that film. So that'll be my look. And then I think we have a devil. I think someone else is going as the devil. So that'll be fun. And I'm not sure exactly. There's a couple of question marks still. But what about you? What are you dressing up as? Wait, don't tell me you're dressing up as the Great Pumpkin this year and you're going to rise up out of the pumpkin patch. No?
No, I am not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. I'm gonna dress up like random guy, and I'm gonna tell everybody that they're wrong. There's no UFOs. There's no Area 51. There's no spy planes out there. There's nothing. You're all crazy, bunch of lunatics, and I don't have aliens. That's what I'm being for Halloween.
Burn. Oh man. I love it. I love it. That's fun. No, but really, I can't even imagine. What are you dressing up as? Are you going as the Joker again this year?
No, I was a piece of pizza last year.
Were you a piece of pizza? No way.
I was a piece of pizza. Actually last year I bought myself a Sasquatch outfit. Okay. And you've seen the Sasquatch outfit.
I have.
I couldn't get the zipper up because my stomach was too big. So I dressed as a piece of pizza.
Because that's an easy costume. It's just a big triangle with a hole in it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So this year I'm not doing that.
You were stuffed crust pizza is what you were.
I was stuffed crust pizza last year. Not even thin crust. Not even close to thin crust.
But I love it. I love every bit of this. This is so much fun. We should talk costumes more often.
Sure.
Extra cheese. Extra cheese also. Little sprinkle.
Always about extra cheese with you. No matter what. Hey, you want to go to Tim Hortons, get a nice cab, Tim? Sure. Let's get some extra cheese with that as well.
Extra cheese on it. You know me. That's right. That's right.
All right. China and Russia ahead of the United States regarding UFOs. What's going on here, man?
Yeah. And to add to that, does that potential garner the secrecy that surrounds the topic? Right? Because if that's true, obviously they're trying to hide it. So here in the United States, we know that dozens or more recovered UFOs have been claimed to be being studied by defense contractors. Now, sources claim that excessive secrecy is hindering and comprehensive understanding of the retrieved objects' enigmatic technology is being hidden. So, moreover, an expanded network of sources told us here that at least 30 whistleblowers familiar with these alleged UFO retrieval and analysis efforts have provided testimony to Congress. Now, the U.S. government's congressionally mandated UFO Analysis Office and the investigative watchdogs that oversee the U.S. Department of Defense and intelligence community have been working diligently, obviously, on keeping this a secret. So This obviously has been potentially what's been holding back the topic in the public eye, and also what has potentially kept this topic covert and technology out of the public eye. So, reflecting on that, um, they are also considering now that within the secrecy and following the reporting that's been going on um, with the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, along with bipartisan groups of 5 other senators, introducing remarkable UFO related legislation on the horizon. Reporting recently has been that China and Russia may also have retrieved UFOs. And so, language in the legislation alluding to, quote, increased potential for technology surprise from foreign adversaries, end quote, is taking on a particular significance. So, while the exact details of foreign UFO retrieval and reverse engineering efforts remain murky, Grush in particular described a publicly unknown Cold War over recovered and exploited physical material. And so a competition with near peer adversaries over the years to identify UAP crashes and landings and retrieve the material for exploitation and reverse engineering. So this was in order to garner asymmetric national defense advantages. But what we've ended up with is massive amounts of secrecy within our own government on this topic, and then compartmentalization of all of the technology. And so this new article from The Hill covers in depth all of the details that are being discussed here with this potential. But Dave, I would love to get your take, and I am going to go into mystery mode here for Halloween.
Oh my. I love mystery mode. You know what? It's going to be interesting to see how this story actually comes out, because can we really trust anything that comes out from China and Russia? I mean, you know, they're not known for their truth. They're known for playing games over the years. That's what communism does over the years. All right. And the idea, Tim, that they are ahead of us in the UFO game, I do not believe that for a second. But I do believe that if they had the opportunity to do so, they would be jumping at it like anything. Okay. Because there is a Cold War going on for technology. And let's face it, space is the final frontier. And if you own space, you're going to own a lot of territory on this planet. And how do we get there? Alien technology, right? Could it be? We can assume, right? But nobody is going to come forward, whether it's the US, China, or Russia. They're not going to come forward and state what they have. Now, we know that Russia has had their own Roswell incident. A lot of countries have. Canada has, Brazil has, okay, France has, Italy has, Australia has, China has. There are a number of incidents around the world that really pique the interest, and we don't know how far advanced they are in these subjects. But it does also tell me, Tim, that while this UFO Cold War is going on, it makes it more understanding that the United States has to keep a secret on what they have recovered and what they are currently potentially reverse engineering. Because if they give that up, the only people that they are hurting is their own Defense Department. Because if there's anybody out there that we could hope, and I use the word hope in capital letters, would bring this technology to humanity, it would be the United States. China wants to dominate the world, so does Russia. And the United States, well, whether you believe them or not, we know they're holding secrets of certain technologies. They're going to do that under the military industrial complex, number one. And number two, they're going to do it for the sake of defense of not only the United States, but the Western world. There's a lot of hell on this planet right now. And giving up your secrets for the sake of trying to win the UFO game is not one of them that would be a good chess move. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I find it incredibly interesting, however, that they've used this as their cover for the blanket story, for so long. In fact, according to retired U.S. Army Colonel Carl Nell, who served alongside Grush in an early iteration of the U.S. government's contemporary UFO analysis efforts, Grush's assertion concerning the existence of a terrestrial arms race occurring sub rosa over the past 80 years, focusing on reverse engineering of technologies of unknown origin, is fundamentally correct. So, these allegations from two former high ranking defense officials in tandem with independent investigative reporting raises a host of national security questions and issues, just as you're saying. And clearly, Congress is paying attention. The Schumer led legislation, for example, defines the quote non human intelligence as any sentient intelligence, non human life form, regardless of nature or ultimate origin, that may be presumed responsible. It's pretty in depth, and that goes along with UFOs. So it's interesting to see how this, you know, has been the blanket for them to not have to share any information because of the quote unquote UFO arms race that's been going on for 80 years. And now when we talk about it publicly, oh, it's in complete denial. And there's no way they'll admit to the existence of that. So if there's any hint of our competitors having an advantage, well, that just can't exist, really, Dave, because you and I both know UFOs don't exist.
Well, of course they don't. Of course they don't. And once again, we are, this also goes to the argument that people are sick of me saying, what is a UFO and what is a UAP? And what are we chasing? Okay. Now, if it's UFO technology, look, there are so many secrets that the United States has in places like Area 51. We won't even see them in our lifetime, Tim. We will not see them in our lifetime. Aircraft that are flying today and the technologies that they are testing out today will be decades away from being made public, if ever, which is shameful. Because if it could help humanity today, we should be able to capitalize on that. And unfortunately, you know, it's not going to happen. And it sucks because I do believe that there is technologies out there that could help a lot of what is going on this planet. I don't know if we have 0 point energy, okay, but if we have technology that could cheapen, let's say, flights from Vancouver to New York or New York to Australia or Toronto to Paris, why shouldn't we have that? Why don't we deserve that? Okay, rather than making missiles like China is that fly at hypersonic speed in order to evade the missile system that protects the United States. Okay, we're still preparing like it's after the World War II, where we're got to be worried about blowing each other up. And you'd think we nearly, 90 years later, 80 years later, we would have grown up from that crap. And we haven't. And it's not just America. People love to blame the US on this. It's not just America. It's the Middle East who's still partying like it's 1499. Okay? It's Russia playing their games. It's China playing their games. North Korea and their big bouncy beach ball trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do in life. Okay? It just gets a little tiring because if we actually work together, okay, and it's not just boomers, people, there's idiocy in every age group, except maybe Gen X, because we seem to be the only normal ones, right? But Tim, I mean, with 20 seconds to go, it's sad that a lot of these toys that are being played with today, you and me and many other commoners are never going to see it because we're not good enough to see it. We don't deserve to see it, according to some people. And that is what really bites. When we return with the UFO report with our good man, Tim Seanor, NASA's new push to track unexplained objects, great. They're getting back into UAPs. And apparently there are warnings about trying to contact aliens. Come on. Oh, we're going to get into this. A busy final half hour of Spaced Out Radio coming up next. How you doing, buddy?
I'm so good. I'm going to give you a little pushback before we change topics when we come back, because I don't think all technologies have been hidden, and we can talk about that briefly. Yeah, no, things are good. It's been hectic here. Obviously, whenever there's a celebration about to happen in any way, shape, or form, madness. I mean, obviously, and last minute costume changes, in the morning before school, sudden decision like these shoes don't work, so everything has to change. It's fun. It's fun.
Totally fun.
Yeah.
It's totally fun.
That's great. You guys all go out as a family, or does anyone stay home to hand out candy?
We don't get any kids here.
Do you guys go around?
Everybody with kids goes into town and raids the city kid.
Is that what you guys do?
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
But I'm taking off right afterwards, and I'm heading straight to the museum as got my final tour of the year.
Spooky night. That'll be a fun spooky night.
It's going to be great. My friend came down the other night from his catwalk.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Huh. He came down from his catwalk and like running down the stairs like do.
Do you film it? You never film on these tours,
no.
do you?
No.
That's so
we have a very we don't film upstairs at all because he doesn't like that, right?
Yeah.
And so he came running down the stairs, and I turned and I looked toward. I never saw him, but I knew he was there, and I turned. I said, "Get back up your catwalk." I said, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "We got a deal here. We're holding up our end of the bargain. You go get back up there and hold up yours." All of a sudden, you hear thump way up on the catwalk. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I know you like the catwalk.
I like the devices that we had up there that were going crazy. So fun. That's a great spot. You're so lucky to live near it. Literally, it's right around the corner. It's so great.
Peter Benton, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And oh, little Jimmy Goodall's here. Look at little Jimmy Goodall.
Look at that. He's been at the black mailbox. I've been at the black mailbox.
Yeah. Yep, there.
We've had our photo up there. Not the original location of the black mailbox, but definitely a really photogenic location to put it.
Still takes you to the mountains of the 51, man.
Yeah, and just know, Jim, every photograph that you're taking there at the mailbox, it's taking of you.
That's right.
It's looking back.
That's right. I can't wait to go there again.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about a strange part of the world. It's just eerie out there, isn't it? Out by Area 51, weird. Anywhere on that stretch of desert. It's just weird. Alien highway action.
I know, right? Crazy times.
Yeah.
If you've never driven out there, it is worth the drive. Look at this. Cherry Pepsi mic dropping one on Jim. Jim Goodall is a veteran of the catwalk. Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, you know that's right. You know that's right.
How many books has Jim written? Is it
Dry Toast, the best name on YouTube? How you doing? I don't know, but at some point, I'm really surprised we haven't seen Jim Goodall on the cover of Playgirl. I'm surprised.
or Playboy even? Why not? I mean, there's like dudes on there sometimes as like total studs. I could see that,
When?
or at least an interview in Playboy. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
He's that guy that gives the interviews. I love it.
Yep. Jim Goodall, centerfold of Playgirl magazine, December 2023. It's coming.
Imagine the size of the fig leaf they'd have to use.
Oh my God. Tokeland and Nikki in Seattle. How you doing?
Toe curlingly cringe.
Oh yeah. All right. Big thank you to Louis ×2 and Random Guy for the super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love. Don't forget to shop at our store, spacedoutradio.com. We do not have ugly swag, people. Nothing ugly there. Here we go. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag, follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can join us on the Space Travelers Club on Patreon. Here we go. Tim Seanor, the UFO Report continues right after this. Well, actually, it kind of continues right now, but I just said the wrong thing. Tim, welcome back, my man. And we are going to talk about my favorite group, NASA. And, you know, I was on with Walter Sterling last night, Sterling on Sundays right across the United States. And we were talking about NASA. And I'm telling you, he thinks NASA's lying to us too. He does.
Wow.
Do you believe
wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I know you guys aren't necessarily fans of NASA, and that's fine. You know, we're all do our own opinion. Recently, David Spergel did an interview and gave us a little backstory on why he decided to join up and become the chair, sitting on this panel of the independent study looking into UAP. In a quote, he says, "It wasn't something I had any plans to do, but NASA has done a lot for my career. And when they ask for something, you go to help out." So sounds pretty casual as far as a decision goes. Kind of a big deal, though. You know, once he got into that seat, he may have had second thoughts on that casual and spontaneous decision. Because as you and I know, Dave, it's actually a really deep and kind of an unanswerable question that once you get into, if you're looking for the truth, there really is quite a rabbit hole to go down. So the team issued its final report last month, concluding that although there's no evidence of aliens having visited Earth, there are plenty of unusual phenomenon, and some natural and some are human-made, and they're all in the skies above us. And the more data that's collected to report, well, the better equipped scientists will be to understand the phenomenon. So the same day NASA announced its new director of UAP research, Mark McInerney, who was previously the agency's liaison with the Defense Department on UAP matters. With that, Spergel and the rest of his team returned to their regular research, saying that we have fulfilled our charter. And he wrote this in an email going forward in this interview saying, we were glad to help NASA with this, and we learned a lot. Worked with good people, no regrets. Pretty to the point. And so recently he furthered his discussion with the team's work, and the interview was conducted over Zoom and by email. And they conducted it kind of just to see if there was any more that they could get concerning his interaction with the team that he'd put together. And so he's saying that it's in part an exercise in rebranding. It's also what he's saying he thinks as an exercise in being more accurate, because many of the things may not be flying, right? So terminology he's talking about here, also almost certainly some of them are floating. A bunch of the events are almost certainly balloons, drones, planes, some are clouds. There are some events that are not well understood, but some of them, when you look into them, have conventional explanations. And so the question goes on to say, so you're on record saying that even though something's unexplained, there's no reason to think we're talking about extraterrestrial origins. And David Spergel's answer is, that's right. You start with conventional things first. So a lot more in this interview coming from undark.com. Dave, you're not a fan, and this is kind of why. And I have to tell you, for this to be the director of that group, essentially the person that was the spokesperson, the organizer, and the person that kind of put all of the information together in a way that was going to be presented, it was a little bit disappointing and underwhelming, seeing as this is the president of the Simons Foundation, right? And so good background coming as an astrophysicist from Princeton University. It's just very disappointing. So, I may not necessarily agree with the whole idea being a failure, because I think conceptually NASA should be doing honest research, but this is not a representation of that, unfortunately.
Well, stage number 1 for NASA should be honesty. Okay, if you want to know what's going on in space or on this planet that's flying in here, it isn't about UAP or UFOs. It's about honesty. People look to NASA to be the police and the lawyers and the journalists of what is going on out in space. That's what an astrophysicist is, to learn what's going on in outer space and how it's going to affect planet Earth. When you can't get honesty out of this 4-letter agency that is run by the Air Force and Navy, that's the problem right there. And more people need to call that out. We got to stop with this yay NASA crap. Every time they mention the word UAP or UFO or we're going to find out, you already know, you sick son of a bitches. Okay, pardon my language. You already know the answer. And that answer is, you've been lying to the American and world public for more than 70 years regarding your rockets going up into space, your shuttles going up into space, your test aircraft going up into space. You've been lying. And I don't understand why we in the UFO world are so afraid to stand up against NASA and say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. There's enough evidence out there, and not even anecdotal stories, but video, audio, clippings from testimonials that have been put out there regarding what NASA truly does know about this. And it just seems like when all of these smart people come together, they get stupid. Okay? And the scientific community, like the SCU, backs that stupidity. We have fighter pilots who are backing that stupidity. How can all of these people go dumb when it comes to one subject? UFOs. And I am so sick of it, Tim. I am so sick of this topic. And I know you bring it up because you want to get me a rise out of me. I know you do that.
It's in the news.
Well, I realize it's in the news.
Yeah.
Okay. But why can't we have some transparency?
Yeah.
Why can't there be a journalist out there to show some integrity to actually ask these people, why are you lying? You know it. Anybody can go get the information of the astronauts who've seen things. The audio is out there. The videos are out there. Okay? There are photographs out there. Tim, you've seen the photographs. I've been handed the photographs. 3 of them.
Yeah.
Okay? Imagine walking on the moon and seeing a UFO fly by. Guess what? There's a photo of that. Tim's seen it. I have seen it.
Yeah. He kind of addresses this question. So I'll read the question, which is, do you worry that some people will think that if NASA is paying attention to UAPs, then it's lending legitimacy to speculation about aliens and flying saucers? So this is kind of what we're talking about.
I
His
want to
answer,
address sorry,
okay,
let me just address something from
mm,
our chat room here.
sure, sure.
And this isn't a shot at Vanessa in our chat room on YouTube. She goes, Dave, you're full of hate for that 4-letter word being NASA. You got to let that go. I can't let it go because other people are supporting this. Okay? Other people are supporting this lie. And if we continue to support this lie, how do we get ahead? It's not that I don't like NASA. I love NASA. I get excited when I see rockets going into space. I stare up at the sky each and every night that I can to watch the satellites and to count the satellites. And I often wonder, just like a child's brain, okay, what is that satellite doing? Is it putting uh television in my house? Is that the Sirius XM satellite? Is that something that can spy on me if I throw it up the middle finger to it? Right? Is it, I think it's cool that when I see the International Space Station fly over, I immediately take a picture of it and I tweet it out saying, "Hey guys, how you doing? Did you see me waving?" I'm like a child that way because space is incredible. Have you seen the moon the last few days?
Yeah.
It's been massive and beautiful. I love NASA. I don't like the way that they are trying to screw with humanity and lie to humanity about what they truly know. And the problem that we have, Vanessa, and anybody else who thinks I'm going overboard with this, is there is more than ample evidence that shows that they are lying, but nobody ever questions them on it. Everybody just falls in their laps like lap dogs to be petted over the head by Bill Nelson and his team of liars. Okay. And let me say this. Okay. I don't like the way the UFO community calls each other out, especially with the word lying. Just because you don't believe someone's story doesn't mean they're lying. But when it comes to NASA, we have caught them in the lies. We have caught them false or making false claims and false stories. And nobody ever questions them about it. It's like we're not allowed to question them, because we all wear the scarlet letter of the UFO community and they don't have to answer to us. And yet we're the only ones, not Spaced Out Radio, but the UFO community are the only ones smart enough to pose the questions about what happened with Gemini? What happened with Mercury and Apollo? What about the X-15 pilot? What about your other test pilots who saw things? What about John Glenn? Bill Cooper, many others. Story Musgrave, if you want to get into the last few decades, and many others. It's crap, and they're lying. Sorry, Tim.
According to Dan Spergel, he says that we tried to walk the tightrope between, in sense, two communities. You had some people who were colleagues who felt just even discussing this topic was inappropriate and would bring legitimacy to it, and others on the other side who felt that there's a vast conspiracy of hidden alien bases, and unless we disclosed NASA's hidden alien bases, we were covering things up. So that kind of addresses the thoughts that there are conspiracies there and how he felt about that. But no, your points are absolutely valid, and I was not trying to
No,
bum you
no,
up bringing it up. But
no. I'm
yeah,
just trying to address the question. But Tim, wouldn't you like to see more of the UFO community band together and call them out for the disgust that they are? Okay,
I yeah, I think that the films that are being put out there with evidence speak loads. You know,
Darcy Weir, filmmaker, should be on every major news network with his films, whether you like Darcy or not. Okay, and there's a number of people in the UFO community who were not a fan of him. Personally, I think he's a good guy. Okay, he should be on every major news network with his films exposing NASA for the liars that they are. That's the truth of it. Let's move on to we're not allowed to contact aliens. Why not, Tim?
I love it. Yeah, the search for alien life has been ramped up by NASA this year, of course. And so the experts are warning that hunting for whatever's out there might not actually be the best idea. So it looks like Mark Buchanan claimed that contacting aliens would be dangerous and advised us not to do it back in about 2021. Now, Mark is a physicist and has done the math. And this week, speaking out, he has said that shedding a little light now here, uh, it could be incredibly dangerous to attempt to make contact. In short, very. Comparing this to ants, he said, if they can travel to visit us, their technology is probably way ahead of ours, including maybe having a way to travel faster than light. And along with that, if they don't like us or don't consider us to be intelligent enough, well, they could probably wipe us out quickly. So, yes, this is a frightening prospect. They could be like ants with a queen in charge, like the movie Aliens, or they could just be like big cats that hunt alone and might come to our solar system to hunt, like in the movie Predator, right? Now, they could also be like the aliens in the TV show V, who see our planet as a resource and want to use us and our water, or they may see us as a threat and want to destroy us before we get too advanced, like in the movie Independence Day. Now, interesting that there are all these films that have already put out speculation for us so we can kind of visualize all these potentials. But the search for alien life took a huge leap forward this year with NASA failing to rule out that many of the UFOs spotted on flying around the Earth were controlled by beings of another world. Now, the space agency even appointed someone whose sole job it is to take on the task of alien hunting. And we know moving forward that astrophysicist professor at Arizona State University has even gone so far as to say that it's completely silly premise once you realize the amount of technology and the magnitude of effort it would take to cross light years of space to fight a war like that. So, conflicting opinions from pretty intelligent people out there. We know that cinema has definitely projected a few potentials at us, but another potential is that they would come a long way, but just watch and just observe. Like this last professor was saying, that it's a long way to come just to wage a war. So, Dave, I love a lot of the concepts there. What's your idea? Where are you at with this? Because you've been at this for decades. I'd love to get your take.
Decades. It's been 1 decade, man. One.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Look,
Should we
trying to.
contact?
I think if it's done properly, we should. Okay. Look, you just don't go throw a bunch of meat on your backyard, hoping that the local puppies will come by and have a snack. You could get anything from foxes to coyotes to bears to mountain lions or whatever. If you're in my backyard, at least, you have to be careful with what you do. Okay, you don't walk into a place and just drop your phone number all over the place, because you don't know who's going to call. What you have to do is you have to put out the intention. Okay, you have to put out the intention of what you want. You don't want the bad guys around. You look, not all aliens are good here, people. We talk a lot about the peace, love, and lighters, man. Okay, but not all aliens are good. Some of them want to do things to you, whether it's check out your butt, whether it's put needles in your eyes, whether it's other things, break your limbs. We've heard a lot of things. How about start taking your children or your grandchildren, and you have no control over that? There's some scary stuff there. But if you do get in contact, wouldn't you want to know that it's right, that it's proper, that you're doing it the right way? I would, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we gotta learn. And I'm not even going to talk about NASA on this one, because this is a personal quest for humanity. I say, if you want to contact aliens, go for it. Go for it. I'll even show you how. But make sure you put your right foot forward, and make sure you're doing it properly, so that way you're trying to withhold the bad guys from coming in and ruining the rest of your life, and keeping the good ones in that are there to help you. It's very angelic. It's a very weird thing.
Indeed.
Okay, but your thoughts, Tim? We got 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah. I just want to think further. If we're sending out signals into space and hopefully they're, interpreting it properly, I always wonder, how we send whale calls out to try and attract whales.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a recording of a whale, but we don't know what it's saying. It's kind of like that.
Difference is the aliens know what we're talking about. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.